Hi, and welcome to the next video in our series. I'm Shelley Row, and today we're going to start our conversation about knee-jerk decisions. So what do you think? Have you ever made a snap decision? And perhaps you're thinking, are they good or are they bad? And they're both. Sometimes you might have a situation that requires you to make a very fast decision. Maybe it's because there is a safety situation, a crisis, an emergency, or something that just can't wait. Now, if that decision is similar to situations that you faced in the past, you can draw on that stored experience in the middle of your brain, all those habits and experiences, behaviors, and you can come up frequently with a really good decision based on your experience. Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book, Blink, based on this kind of decision making. However, there are other kinds of snap, knee-jerk decisions, and these are the ones where you react without thinking, and maybe you just wish you could do that one over again. Those are the types of decisions that we want to focus on in the next few segments. So now recall that we talked about the cognition-intuition balance model for effective decision making. And I introduced you to the term info-tuition. Info-tuition. So info-tuition is the concept of balanced decision making, where for particularly complex decisions, you balance inputs from your brain and your gut, from cognition and intuition, from thinking and feeling. And that's that balanced info-tuition part. But knee-jerk decisions are out of balance. There's too much emotion-based reacting going on and not enough thinking. It's out of balance. So think about when you tend to have those knee-jerk reactions, and we all have them. What types of situations trigger them? Maybe it's something that hits your hot buttons or just grates on your nerves, or it's just so annoying. Whatever it is a triggering event. So now let's use an analogy. Let's think about it like this tea kettle. All right, so the tea kettle is on the stove and there's a fire on under the tea kettle. Now for that tea kettle, the fire is the triggering event. Good for the tea kettle. But more importantly, what are your triggers? Who are the people, the situations that trigger you? There was a time in my career when I worked for this boss. I affectionately call him the boss from hell. And my phone would ring and his number would show up and I immediately tensed up. Who does that for you? You need to know, and if possible, you need to know who they are before you walk in the door to meet with them. Now, what are the situations that trigger you? It may be something like when your computer crashes. That does it for me every single time. But more interesting are the situations with people, like the person who says, that they're going to do something and then they don't. Or the person who would rather ask you to tell them how to do something rather than read the directions that you've already provided. Or what about that person that just won't take any initiative? Take a moment and think about the situations that trigger you. Because you see, the more you know about them in advance, the more likely you are to manage the reaction. So let's take a quick look at what happens in your brain when you get triggered. Now, this is the emotion center in the brain, this middle ring. And when it gets overly active, that's what's triggered. It's the amygdala in this part of your brain that sets off the fight or flight response. Now, this part of the brain is very quick and fast acting. And when that amygdala reacts, it actually takes energy away from the thinking part of the brain called the neocortex. When that happens and the amygdala takes control, that's called the amygdala hijack. Now, maybe you've noticed that when you get triggered, it's as though for a moment you can't think straight. Or maybe it's for more than a moment. And that's because you can't think straight. That is a remarkably bad time to make a decision. Actually, it's a bad time to say anything at all. Triggered reactions cause a surprising amount of wasted time and wasted energy in the workplace, and they create such stress. If you know your triggers, the people and the situations, you are better prepared to manage your reaction. So let's just pause for now, and we'll pick up later with other clues that you've been triggered in our next video.